told you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly, we get it bouncing like Betty's, I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli, it's leave on that levy, no sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do, hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm Coos. All faith, God's plan, you just gotta choose. God slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit up my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. We've got Thursday night football. The New York Jets coming off a big win against the Cincinnati Bengals. We've got the Indianapolis Colts coming off a pretty disappointing loss to the Tennessee Titans. Ben, we had a bet on that Colts-Titans game last week. Not to start this off, just like trashing on your Colts. But I didn't have a better way to start it out.
Are we gonna do another stream where we have to bring that up? Like,
yeah, every time they play.
Yeah.
Hey Ben, did you forget the bet that we had? No, just kidding.
I don't remember what happened yesterday. I look towards the future, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can learn from the past, but we're looking to the future.
And also, before we hop on into everything, Sharp Dimes, thanks for the follow. He's a very good handicapper, so. If you guys see his name pop up in the chat, show him some love. But as far as this one goes, yes, we did have that bet. Carson Wentz did not come through for me, and that was very annoying. I wasn't watching the game, but I was watching it on my phone, or at least the scores. And I'm like, wait, how did the Titans score a touchdown? It was a pick six. So anyway,
yeah, just Carson Wentz things.
Yeah. So, tonight's an interesting one. Can Mike White continue his success? That's the storyline in this one.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, Mike White won some crazy degenerate $125,000 last week by being the top passing quarterback in the league. I don't think anybody should be expecting a repeat performance of that. But Mike White was fairly effective. I think a lot more effective than most people thought. Also, yeah, thank you, Rhett, for the follow. Appreciate that.
Oh, thanks, Rhett. He had a better game than I think Zach Wilson has had all season, just to be real.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the best, probably 10 or 20 quarterback games any quarterback has had all season, just as far as efficiency is concerned. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, he was making good throws, and it wasn't a fluke. I mean, you can point this out, and this is something that we'll hold on for this point when we get to the player props. But either way you slice it, Jets won the game against the Bengals. They have a little bit of momentum, but now they're on the road, and it's a Colts team that I still feel like's hungry. But man, Carson Wentz.
Yeah, big question mark for Carson Wentz. I mean, he looks nervous.
Yeah, just like very, oh my gosh, I got to do something here, like, ooh, and throws it up in the air.
Yeah, it looks like he's scared to get hit, is what I think it is. So good to say hi to everyone in the chat. We got Larry. Said, please excuse my son for missing the last stream. Signed, Scrunch's mother. Thank you for getting a signed note. We appreciate that. Your absence is going to be excused.
It sounds like his son missed the stream. But I know
maybe
son missed the stream.
Yeah,
maybe his son didn't show up for the stream.
Maybe his son was the reason that he missed the stream.
Maybe both.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Sharp Time's intro is fuego. Yeah, I'm super happy with the way that the intro turned out.
Yeah, that's my boy Levi Todd, man. He's a local rapper. He's pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
you know, people
fire.
are always, oh yeah, I know a guy, he raps, and you're always like, all right, sure, send me a song, right? And then you're like, all right.
I mean, that was my reaction when Ben said like, "Hey, I know this rapper." I was like, "Oh boy."
Oh yeah, some mixtapes on the corner, eh?
No, but it was actually good.
Yeah.
What's up, Clockworks? What's up, Saucy? Saying, why is Larry always here first? I think Larry has the stream up even when we're not live. Just like the gif of the guy being all anxious and antsy that we all know.
Yeah.
I think that's Larry. Don't know questions. Don't ask questions. You know the answer to it exactly.
Sharp Dimes is right. You know, when he has the time, but when he gets a little bit of pressure, you know, his brain switches and he just. I mean, it's not like it's just last game. Like there's a pattern we've seen with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rhett, what's up? Wise of Cap, first time chat. Thank you for checking out the stream. Again, thank you for the chat. Thank you for the follow. There's not like a good way. I call you like crazy of Rhett, but that doesn't really make any sense as like we are Wise of Cap, but it's not like a good way to turn that around for your name.
Yeah, Rhett he already put it in his name. Rhett go crazy.
Yeah, he's like Rhett of crazy. So it's already in order. We screwed up. And Saucy, the mustache, the porn stash, yeah. You know, it's Movember. It's like if you're gonna try it out, see how it looks, now is the time of year to do it.
Yep. No questions asked.
So got the stash rocking. We'll see how long it lasts. No promises it'll be here on Sunday. So let's hop into the game. We've got, of course, the Jets and the Colts. Colts 10-point favorites at home. Over under set at 45. This looks, for once, like we have consensus across books, which makes sense. We've got, I mean, it's sitting on key numbers in both spots, the spread and the total. It would take, I think, a lot of action at this point on one of the sides to move it off of this 10. We got PointsBet, Superbook, and DraftKings, the three books that we're going to use here on stream, all with the same numbers, which is nice. I like that. So the model has the Jets losing this game, Colts winning, but the Jets covering. So we have Colts 24.32, Jets 19.4. Do I think it's going to be quite this close? Probably not. I think the model. So for anybody who doesn't know, the model that we have, it actually does know the players, or at least offensive quarterback and skill position players that are playing in the game. So it knows that Mike White is starting for the Jets. It knows that Corey Davis is out and that Tevin Coleman is out for the Jets. So these are all things that are taken into account in the model. And we've got Colts winning by about 5. So it's a Jets cover and a total of between 43.5 and 44. So a slight lean on the under. So that's what the model thinks. Ben, what do you think?
Man, this is a tough one because I don't want to call Mike White's performance a fluke. Not a fluke, maybe an anomaly to what I'm expecting for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to play the same way that he did last time tonight. I mean, or maybe he's the next Tom Brady or something.
Yeah, I saw someone post about that real quick. They're like, oh, man. Very similar to Bledsoe and Brady, and I'm like, all right, stop. But he got his clicks, so yippee. But I'm a little concerned that this could be like a big letdown for the Jets, because now we have to remember that Colts have a full game worth of tape on Mike White, and I think that's going to play a pretty big factor in this one. So what I will say is the under I definitely agree with from the model standpoint. The score, it's tight, right? You know, it's going to come down to the Jets scoring maybe a touchdown versus not a touchdown. So, I mean, the 24 for the Colts seems realistic. Jets could be in a position where it's like a 14-24 game. It's like, can they get a touchdown? But I guess I like the Jets to cover. 10, it's where the number should be. So I'm not too opinionated on the total, really. Or, sorry, total, the side.
Yeah, I really
10 is
think
there, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that 10 really does feel like the right number for this to be at. In fact, I feel tempted is maybe not the right word, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if this spread pushes. It really does feel like it's going to be a 24-14 or a 27-17 type game. So the spread is really going to come down to like a missed extra point or a 2-point conversion or something stupid that
or
that it's going to be on bad beats.
Yeah, missed extra point. That feels very probable.
Yeah, but regardless, I mean, both of those scores that I mentioned, which I think feel pretty reasonable. They both favor the under. Yeah. So I like the under. I do like the Jets to cover. I could see the hesitation in your face talking about the prospect of the Jets covering. I think Larry's right. This is Ben's third favorite team. Maybe even second favorite team, the Colts.
No, they're third.
They're your third favorite team. Who's your second favorite?
Actually, we talked about this. And thank you, Scoped is Brutus, for the follow. No, I think Herbert is a guy I like a lot, but the second favorite team is the Colts. So, and then Chargers maybe third, but yeah. No, it's not so much the Colts. It's just the Jets. It's just can they replicate a performance like that? I don't know.
So if the Jets win this game, they'll actually be ahead of the Colts in the standings.
Yeah, that's true. If the Colts lose tonight and the Jets win, and Mike White has a really good game, do you just continue to put him out there? We're getting ahead of ourselves here.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We're not talk show radio here. That's what. Okay, let's.
Is Mike White a lock for the Hall of Fame? Are the Jets going to retire his number next week?
Is Mike White a better quarterback currently than Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
We'll discuss this at 5 p.m. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He is actually statistically. Whoa, guys. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
some more stuff from the chat. Saucy says, "Please don't steal my bitch with that stash. No promises." Scope says, "What's up, boys? Need a lock?" So, first time chat. So, quick run through of how the stream's going to work. Right now, we're just kind of doing a little intro, talking about the game level stuff, the spread, the total. But we're going to get into a full deep dive into the prop market as well, and then close it off with our top picks of the day. No locks. Lock is a word that we don't necessarily like to use because nothing's a lock except for Drew. But we're definitely gonna have our top picks for today. Ryan Boris says, also first time chat, it was a fluke. Who the fluke is Mike White? I mean, Mike White, second year quarterback out of Western Kentucky. You're completely right. A lot of checkdowns. Huge game receiving for Michael Carter last week. We're gonna touch on that for sure. I think the running back props for the Jets, at least for me, are the most interesting props of the game.
Yeah, and I have something that's playing off of the receiving numbers that I'm going to give out probably.
Mm-hmm. And Drew Deasy, first time chat as well. A lot of new people in here today. Appreciate all of you checking out the stream and being here. Says Colts covering. I like the Jets. The model likes the Jets. Ben's a little hesitant to take the Jets, I think.
10.5, I was all about the Jets, but now I'm like, eh.
Yeah, so I'll throw up just the under as a lean here. Although I personally do like the Jets quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think the Jets, they're going to move the ball and get into the 45 to 25 yard range. It's going to be interesting if they can convert those third downs and keep drives moving and get in the end zone. That's going to make or break this one, because I think Colts are going to score theirs. They're going to get theirs. So Jets, they're the question mark here.
Yeah. Also, Drew, what is that badge next to your name? I see it says Battle Right. I have no idea what that is. I'm quite curious though. So Ben, you ready to hop in to the prop market?
Yep, I am ready.
All right. So as always, we're going to start out with some quarterback props. So Mike Wentz. Not Mike. Why did I say Mike Wentz? I just mix them up. And Carson White and Mike Wentz. Yep. Good job, Nick. Carson Wentz over under 247.5 passing yards. Mike White, over under 250.5. So the model has both of these guys going over. It actually has Wentz with a couple more yards than Mike White, despite White's Vegas total being a little bit higher. But Ben, do you have any opinion on either of these?
Yeah, I actually like Mike White's over here. That's probably my favorite of these four because I do think the Jets are going to be in a position where they're going to have to pass the ball. And 250 is a number where they don't have to necessarily complete a lot of deep balls, but they do have to sustain some drives. 250, did it just move to 251 or was?
Yeah, it did. It always happens.
Yeah. No.
Sometimes
I'm like, am I reading this incorrectly? But no.
No, it's how it works. We get on and we talk about a pick, and then the number moves.
Yeah.
It wasn't Carson Wentz's that moved. It was Mike White's.
Yeah, that's true. It was. But Carson Wentz's number though, I feel that both these numbers are very game flow dependent in my eyes. I do.
Yeah, so Wentz is a little interesting. I think I like the Wentz over. Maybe even more than I like the Mike White over, although I'm with you that I like that one as well. So the Jets against quarterbacks this year. Quarterbacks are averaging 283 passing yards against the Jets. Week 1, we saw Sam Darnold 279, so that's an over. Week 2, Mac Jones was under. Week 3, Teddy Bridgewater was under this number. Week 4, Tannehill was over with 298. Matt Ryan, 342. Mac Jones, second time around, 307, plus 79 in garbage time from Brian Hoyer. And then last week, Joe Burrow, 259. So in the 7 games that the Jets have played, 5 quarterbacks have gone over this number, 2 have gone under this number. The Colts are liable to run the ball a little bit more than some of those other teams. So do I think that Wentz is going to be good for 300 plus? Probably not. But I think I would put Wentz's number more in like the 255, 260 range. So I like the over there as well. I think the only risk really is the Jets getting just absolutely destroyed and setting the Colts up with really good field position. Like turning the ball over or having to punt from their own 10 or 20 yard line. And then the Colts just score a lot without getting yards. I think that's the only way that the Wentz goes under.
So, Nick, the point I wanted to bring up earlier that I'll bring up now is Mike White, he threw for 405 yards last week.
Yes,
But one thing we have to consider is the time of possession was so skewed to them. They had almost 37 minutes with the ball, and a lot of those they just ended up throwing the ball. We still have to give credit where credit's due. Like he threw for 400 yards, right?
Yeah,
but
you have to be able to stop that short pass.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this number, and hopefully no one in here because we need to be smarter than this. But you can't look at last week and say, "Well, you had 400." Tell me he's not going to get 251 tonight? Come on. Obviously that's not the case. That does concern me though because the Colts can drain a lot of clock with that offense that they run with the running backs. So that could be something where it does scare me a little bit where you're like, oh my gosh, Mike White hasn't even been out there for 10 minutes. But if they're behind, you should see a lot of opportunities where they try to stretch the field. I'm personally not betting any of these.
Yeah, I think leans on the overs. For me, also not my favorite bets tonight.
Yeah.
And you're completely right, though, with the time of possession. The Colts are one of the better time of possession teams in the league. They rank 11th with 31 minutes and 5 seconds possession per game on average. They have played a couple overtime games, which might skew that up a little bit.
Still pretty good considering
still,
their record, too.
Yeah, I mean, and they've also had 2 games against the Titans, who were another one of the best time of possession teams in the league with Derrick Henry.
Yeah. So adjusted, that could even be higher, right? I mean,
Yeah,
You know that's
you take
their-
some of that out. Yeah, the Colts do a very good job controlling the ball. So let's take a look now at some rushing props. So on the side of the Colts, we have Carson Wentz over under 10.5, Jonathan Taylor over under 86.5, Nyheim Hines over under 14.5, and I read that Marlon Mack is not playing in tonight's game.
Gotcha. So this one may surprise you, Nick. Maybe not. It may surprise you coming from me, maybe. I don't know. But I like Michael Carter under tonight.
Let's talking about the Colts, Ben.
Oh, sorry. I got so excited, Nick.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Jets.
Let's talk about the Jets. Sorry, I've been so eager to bring this one up where I was like, man, I can't wait to see Nick's reaction to it.
All right, so on the side of the Jets, we have Michael Carter over under 48.5, Mike White over under 4.5, Ty Johnson over under 13.5. So you like this under 48.5 for Michael Carter, and why is that?
So one of the reasons is time of possession, like I mentioned. 2, I think he's going to be more of a threat as a receiver. And 3, just the game flow. I think Jets, if they're down, they may just abandon the run. I don't think they'll completely abandon it, but at a certain point, I think that this Colts defense too, they looked pretty stout last week. I know Henry maybe was playing on one foot, but I think the Colts their rush defense is it's for real. And I think Michael Carter is in a position where he's coming off a bigger game, but I just think that 48.5 seems a little steep, so I like the under there.
Yeah, so it's a little interesting, this rushing number. So the Colts run D has been a little up and down on the year. They've allowed some running backs to have some really big games against them, and then they've had some other games where they've shut down opponents' rushing attacks pretty severely. So Chris Carson, all the way back in week 1, 16 carries for 91 yards. That is not a good performance by the Colts run D. Week 2, Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel combined for 99 yards on 23 carries. Derrick Henry in week 3, 113, but on 28 carries. We shouldn't expect anything like that from the Jets.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Yeah, weeks 4 and 5, they destroyed the running backs of their opponents.
Yeah.
The Dolphins backs combined 13 carries for only 27 yards. Ravens running backs against the Colts, 11 carries for 24 yards. That was the game that they broke the Ravens' 100-yard streak. But then the last 3 weeks, the Texans running backs, 27 carries, 119 yards. That's almost 4.5 per carry from the Texans. 49ers in that rain game, 21 carries for 108. That's more than 5 yards per carry. And then last week, they did shut down Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry, again, did break his foot on the first drive of the game. So which side of this are we going to be on? I don't really know.
Well,
but one thing... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No. I was going to make my closing statements. No,
okay,
go ahead.
so one thing that I think is interesting about Carter is his increased usage now that Tevin Coleman is out. So Tevin Coleman, they had 3 active backs, Carter, Coleman, and Johnson. The first 5 games that they played this year. They had a bye on week 6. Those games, Michael Carter maxed out at 52% of the snaps. The last 2 games, with Tevin Coleman out, Michael Carter has played 70% or more of the offensive snaps in both games. So his usage has gone up. In contrast, Ty Johnson, his percentage of snaps is actually still decreasing, despite Coleman being out. So they're really, it's making a shift from more of a running back by committee into Michael Carter being on the field 70+% of the snaps. So he is the guy in the backfield.
He is the guy, but at the same time, I think he's more of a guy out of the backfield as a receiving threat. I do.
Yeah, the rushing numbers have not been great for Carter. He's had 10-plus carries 5 times this year. In those games, 59 yards, which is good. That's a little over 5 yards per carry. A 238-yard performances on 13 and 10 carries. Those are both not good games and obviously under this number. And then the last 2 weeks with Coleman out, 11 for 37, 15 for 77. So I think I'd probably put Carter right at like 50 rushing yards. So I definitely don't like the under. I wouldn't bet the over. But I agree with what your follow-up is going to be, I'm assuming.
Well, now I'm curious what you think it's going to be.
Well, I think that Carter's going to be really involved in the passing game.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we'll come back to that in a second when we get to the receiving props. But we have... I'm sure we're on pretty much the same thing there.
Yeah.
But any thoughts? Mike White, Ty Johnson?
What's Ty Johnson at?
13 and a half. I think that's a crapshoot.
Yeah, it is.
And Mike White also, I think, is a crapshoot.
Yeah, that's a crapshoot too. He could be at 6 yards and then he takes a knee to end the game.
So back to the Colts. Anybody that you like over here? Again, Carson Wentz over under 10.5. Jonathan Taylor over under 86.5. And Nyheim Hines over under 14.5.
That's tough. Taylor's seems a little high, but it does make sense if they do have a lead and he gets a few extra carries in the fourth quarter. But I'm staying away from that one.
Yeah, so I think that Marlon Mack being out is why this number is so high right now. So the model actually did run with Marlon Mack in. It had him at like 4.5 carries for 16 yards. Most of that probably goes to Taylor, which is why Taylor's number is relatively low here. From the model perspective, I guess last week Hines actually didn't carry the ball at all, or Mack didn't carry the ball at all. So I guess maybe not such a huge deal.
Yeah, man. The Colts sometimes it's hard to, I guess, hard to predict what they want to do with Hines and Mack. So now that Mack's out, I'm just kind of curious, like, does Hines get an extra boost, or is it just going to be Taylor's going to take over those snaps?
Yeah, I don't really know, and I don't particularly like making these kinds of bets where there's a committee guy. I mean, I guess he's not been such a committee guy the last couple weeks, but like who's going to get that volume?
Yeah, it's really nice when you are on the right side of it and you take an over on Hines and he gets 40% of the snaps, but it's such a shitty feeling when you're on the other side and the guy
it's like the Eagles
is
last
out
week.
there. Oh yeah, with Gainwell, it's like, what are you doing?
Or I mean, we had Boston Scott as the official pick.
Yeah,
and that was definitely being on the right side of it.
Yeah, but if you were on the Gainwell side, then you're looking at it like, oh, this is terrible. Like, why isn't he out there? Jordan Howard.
Yeah, Jordan Howard got run before Gainwell did.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. So back to these.
He scored 2 touchdowns. That's what counts.
He did. I don't really know what to expect from that running back tandem there, but man, 86.5.
Yeah, 86.5 is a little high.
That's high. But also, if Quentin Nelson is healthy, he's in, it sounds like, then
yeah,
that's a very doable number.
So one more that I want to talk about is Carson Wentz over under 10.5. So Wentz has been running the ball a little bit more the last couple of games. 4 carries for 23 yards against the Niners in the rain, and then 3 carries for 11 yards last week against the Titans. This is following up 4 straight games where he didn't break double digits. So is Wentz kind of back? Because he's always been, I mean, he's not a Lamar Jackson type, but he's not unathletic. I mean, he's not afraid to run the ball.
Oh, yeah, he's going to take his shots. I wonder if he's going to be hesitant or tentative now after what ensued last game. But
well, I mean, I think it might actually be the opposite. I think that tentativeness in the pocket might be why he's running the ball more these last couple of weeks.
So
right?
You're saying that if he
get,
isn't tentative, he stays in the pocket and he doesn't run.
Yeah, because you're not afraid to sit in there and take the hit. But if you're getting scared in the pocket, if you're seeing ghosts like what Sam Darnold said, then you might be a little bit more inclined to run the ball more.
Mm-hmm. Also, Nick, give me 1 second. Keep talking. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay. So the Jets against quarterbacks this year, they haven't faced a whole lot of guys who are very prolific runners. Sam Darnold, who is probably in the same conversation as Wentz as far as running quarterback tiers are concerned, 5 carries for -1 yards. Mac Jones didn't carry the ball at all. Teddy Bridgewater, 4 for 24. Ryan Tannehill against the Jets, 3 carries for 9 yards. Matt Ryan doesn't run the ball. Mac Jones, second time around, 3 carries for 19 yards. And then last week, Joe Burrow, also not really a runner at all. So I think that the Wentz over 10.5 feels tempting if we know that Wentz is going to be a little uncertain, a little uneasy, a little tentative in the pocket. I don't necessarily want to bank on that, though. So I lean this over 10.5 for Carson Wentz, but probably not something I'm going to have any action on. I know DraftKings actually does have live player props. So if we see Carson Wentz looking scared, taking this live could be a great look. So are you ready for some receiving props, Ben?
I am.
All right. So we'll start with the Jets. We've got Denzel Mims over under 31.5. Elijah Moore over under 28.5. Keelan Cole, 23.5. Michael Carter, 35.5. Ty Johnson, 21.5. Tyler Kroft, 10.5. So let's start this out by talking about Michael Carter.
Mm-hmm.
So the last 2 weeks, Michael Carter, and this is the 2 games, both with Tevin Coleman being out, and a game and a half of this is with Mike White in at quarterback. Against the Patriots, 8 catches on 9 targets for 67 yards for Michael Carter. Last week against the Bengals, 9 catches on 14 targets for 95 yards against the Bengals. Is he going to get 8 or 9 catches today? Probably not. But is this 35.5 number a little low?
Okay, if he gets 10 targets tonight, how do you feel?
It's a lot. Oh, if he gets 10 targets, flies over.
He's hitting. Yeah, he's hitting it.
Oh, well, I mean, he had 67 on 9 targets 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true. Seems like such an easy over, right?
It definitely feels chalky.
It does feel very chalky. And there's people who I know who are pretty good with props that they like it a lot.
Yeah, it really does feel like something has changed. Whether it's Coleman being out or whether it's Mike White being in at quarterback and his check down tendencies or some combination of those two things, I really think that Michael Carter has found his role in this offense. I mean, there's a reason that he's getting all of those vacated snaps. There's a reason he's had over 100 yards from scrimmage 2 weeks in a row. He's good. He's a good player.
Yeah.
So I think this over 35.5 receiving yards is a pretty good look. So we also had some conversation in the Discord, in the subscribers chat, about the receptions for Michael Carter. So Michael Carter receptions is set at 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's got to be a better bet than the yards.
Absolutely. I was going to bring that up, Nick, and the reason why I like it personally over the yards is because if Mike White gets in a position where he's getting blitzed or I shouldn't say blitz, because if he's getting blitzed, Michael Carter's probably in a blitz pickup. But if he gets pressure with the Colts in their front four, you could see quite a bit of dump downs to Carter, and those could just be for 3-4 yards max. So that one seems probably more doable than yards, but I lean both over.
Yeah, I think I lean both overs as well. And I want to make a comment on something that somebody said earlier that I had intentionally put off until now. Where is it? Ryan said, Colts are a great defense at limiting running backs' receiving yards. So statistically speaking, they're a great defense at limiting receiving yards to running backs. Running backs are only averaging 4 catches for 33 yards as a whole against the Colts this year. But what has to be factored in is that they faced a lot of teams that don't really utilize their running backs in the passing game. So I saw this and I was like, wow, that's not a lot of yards at all. So I went through and I actually looked. And of course, I've closed this all out, so I don't have the exact numbers. But I think pretty much every number one receiving back that they've faced has had one of their best receiving games of the year against the Colts. On an absolute scale, they're not good games, but they're still the top performances of the year from those players. So, for example, in week 1, Chris Carson, who's missed a few games, so it's a smaller sample size, but he had half of the catches and pretty much all of the yards receiving he had on the whole year in 4 games in that game against the Colts. We have Darrell Henderson had 3 catches for 29 yards. I think that was his second best receiving game of the year. Derrick Henry, 3 catches for 31 yards. I think that was, again, his second best receiving game of the year. Dolphins didn't really throw to their backs at all. So that's disappointing because they're a team, especially with Myles Gaskin, that does like to utilize the backs in the passing game. They combined 3 of them for only 3 catches for 16 yards. Ravens, they split 7 catches for 62 yards between a bunch of different backs. Texans, Phillip Lindsay had 2 catches for 15 yards, and David Johnson had a catch for 14 yards. Again, Lindsay, I think that was his best or second best receiving performance of the year. 49ers, it was JaMychal Hasty was the big receiving back, 3 catches for 15 yards, which again is not a lot, but if you look at how JaMychal Hasty has done this year, receiving the ball, I mean, that was a pretty good game for him. That's the second most receptions he's had. Not a ton of yards, but I mean, he's been consistently in that 15 to 20 range every game. So the raw numbers are not great, but teams have more success and they find opportunities to use their backs in the passing game more against the Colts than they typically have in their game plans. That's a long way of saying that I think that Carter is set up nicely despite the kind of apparently good defense that the Colts have defending the pass to running backs. And that's, I guess, also what Clockworks just said.
Yeah, totally. And I think with the Colts, it's you alluded to it, but it's kind of how they run their defense, right? They're kind of tempting you to take those short dump downs, right? They're attempting to limit the deep ball, and sometimes it works for them, sometimes it doesn't, but either way you slice it, Carter's going to have opportunities.
Yeah, he is. And one other thing that hasn't been talked about yet is the fact that Corey Davis is out in this game. And that's a lot of targets. Yeah. And they have to go somewhere. So Corey Davis has played every game this year, has had at least 5 targets every time, averaging right around 7 targets per game. 42 of them in 6 games. That's exactly 7 targets a game. And those have to go somewhere.
Yeah. Minus last game.
No, he played last game.
No, he was out.
Oh, no, he was out last game. You're right.
Yeah. But I think
blind.
that just that reinforces your point, because look how Carter performed. So I think it makes all the sense in the world. He's going to get those looks. Man, 4.5.
Yeah, it really does feel low. And it feels game flow independent as well. Yeah. I think if the Jets end up winning this game, it's because Michael Carter had a good game, and he probably goes over this number. And I think if the Jets are down, the Colts will be happy to give the checkdowns. So it really does feel like a game flow independent play as well, which is a kind of rare thing to have, but a really nice property for a prop to have.
Yeah.
Anybody else on the Jets? We spent a lot of time talking about Michael Carter.
Not really. I mean, Denzel Mims.
Yeah, your boy Denzel Mims.
He's had a tough go lately. But hey, he had 2 catches last week, so.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Mims. For anybody who doesn't know, Denzel Mims over the offseason had a horrific bout of food poisoning.
Yeah,
where
lost like 15 pounds.
Yeah, I think he lost like 25 pounds. And he was in bed for like 2 weeks and couldn't eat. And then it took him like 4 months to get back up to his playing weight. So he's really still coming around.
Well, let's talk about Elijah Moore real quick, because that was one that I was looking at as far as an over at 27.5. Do you have any thoughts there?
So let's see how Moore has done this year. I gotta find a way to get this my Pro Football Reference tab up on the screen somehow. Oh, actually, maybe not.
You could figure it out if you wanted to, but
yeah. So Elijah Moore last week, 6 catches on 6 targets for 67 yards, which is a good game. Is it an overperformance, or is it a fluke? Or is that where some of Corey Davis's targets are going? Because he did have 6 targets the week before as well, with Davis in the lineup. Only turned that into 1 catch for 13 yards. That being said, at 27.5, if he gets 6 targets, 27.5 does feel like a good number. So the model, I guess I can just sort in the other direction to find him, has him at about 2 catches for 21 yards on about 4 targets. So I don't really know. I think Carter's definitely the guy that I'm the most confident in.
Yeah. Look,
so
here's
why do you like Moore?
I like his upside and how he's looked, and I just feel like, with Crowder, with Davis out, 27 seems doable. But at the same time, I go back to the 400 yard performance. That's not going to happen again. They're not going to have the ball as much, so someone's going to take a hit. And I just think between Mims and Moore, one of those 2 guys is going to hit his number for sure. It's just, who's it going to be? It's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it also could be both.
Could be both.
Because the numbers aren't that high. I mean, 27.5 and 30.5. Those aren't big asks.
So you're saying we should play both of them?
You could just Nick special the Jets receiving overs.
Yeah.
I think if it's a play, you got to do that with unders if you're going to do the Nick special.
Yeah.
So anybody on the Colts? We've got Ashton Doolin. Kind of sounds like Ashtabula. I wish he was from Ashtabula. I doubt that he is. But if he was Ashton Doolin from Ashtabula, that would make me very happy. We've got Jack Doyle over under 10.5. Jonathan Taylor over under 19.5. Michael Pittman Jr. over under 66.5. Mo Ali Cox over under 25.5. Naheem Hines over under 13.5. Zach Pascal 46.5. I'm out of breath.
It's a lot of guys.
That's a lot of dudes. Pittman has got to be the interesting one.
Well, Pittman's the most bet one tonight.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but just because it's the most bet one doesn't mean it's a bad bet.
But it definitely makes it the most interesting.
Yeah, it's the most interesting, yes. Doesn't mean it's the best bet, but it is the most interesting, I think. So Pittman really, I mean, he's had 2 pretty good games in a row. So last week against Tennessee, 10 catches on 15 targets for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. Really looks like, I mean, Carson Wentz was looking at him when he was in trouble last week. And the week before, only 4 targets, but caught all 4 of them for more than 100 yards and another touchdown. So Pittman's coming off 2 good games in a row. Number at 66.5. Receptions number for Pittman sitting at 5.5.
This is another scenario where I think I like the receptions number more than the yardage. But I like both.
Yeah, I think that they're both pretty interesting looks. I think... I mean, I think I do like the Pittman receiving over. The reception, the yards. Maybe a little bit more than the receptions. But I think that they're both good looks.
Yeah, he's looked good. He's going to get the looks. He is definitely going to get targets. I'm not betting that one. I'm on the fence there. I mean, I lean over, but...
Yeah. Is there anybody else that you're potentially interested in on the side of the Colts?
I think Hines over is interesting.
Why do you like Hines?
I think someone in the chat referenced it. It was actually Larry. When he's in the game, they look to get him the ball, but I think he fell under this number last week, right?
Nyheim Hines?
Yeah.
Let's see. So Nyheim Hines, yeah, last week, 4 catches for 22 yards.
Oh,
so he went over.
Yeah, I'm thinking of rushing. Yeah, for 2 yards.
Yeah, so Hines has been out of the passing attack for a while. So before this 22-yard performance he had last week, he had 1 catch for -2 yards, 1 catch for 9 yards, no catches for no yards, 2 catches for 5 yards, the 4 prior weeks. I think that's kind of interesting. And those 4 games actually. Again, I guess this makes sense. So that's the 3 wins that the Colts have: the wins over the Dolphins, the Texans, and the Niners, and then the game that they were up big on against the Ravens that went into overtime that they eventually lost. So when the Colts are up, Hines is not getting any receptions really, and when they're down, he's getting a ton. In the 4 losses for the Colts this year that aren't the Ravens game, he 48 yards on 6 catches, 1 for 17, 5 for 54, and 4 for 22, compared to a max of 9. So really, really looking like Nyheim Hines is entirely dependent on game flow. And against the Jets, they're probably going to be up.
Yes. Yeah, now it's 13.5. That's funny. Gotta love it. Never gets old. Anything else, Nick?
Yeah, actually. So I want to talk about these tight ends for a second.
Let's go. The Nick tight end special. I've been waiting.
Everything I do is just the Nick this special, the Nick that special.
But really, the tight end special.
Yeah. I mean, that's the classic.
Yeah.
So Mo Alley Cox sitting at 23.5, and Jack Doyle was at 10.5. So the Jets allow quite a bit to tight ends. They face some really good ones, but they're averaging giving up almost 6 catches for 66 yards to opposing tight ends. That is very heavily skewed by the Kyle Pitts game, where he had 9 catches for 119 yards, plus the other tight ends on the Falcons also combined for 7 for 70. But still, Ian Thomas had 17 yards against them, and Dan Arnold had 6. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry combined 6 for 70. Broncos tight ends, 3 for 21. Titans tight ends combined 5 for 51. Patriots, second time around, 4 for 75. And CJ Uzoma last week for the Bengals, 4 for 33 and a half, or 4 for 33. And the Colts do like to use these tight ends. So let me pull up some numbers real quick. Jack Doyle, last week, 2 catches for 12 yards. Looks like his production was more at the beginning of the year. He had 3 straight games where he had a combined 1 catch for 4 yards. But Mo Alley Cox,
Mo Alley Cox.
yeah, former VCU basketball player.
Oh, it's a VCU guy.
He went to a school that literally doesn't have a football team.
That's funny.
It is. I think it's hilarious. So he got shut out last week. No catches on 4 targets. But the weeks prior to that, 4 weeks, went over this number every game. So I actually think that I like the Mo Alley Cox over 23 and a half receiving yards. More than I like Doyle. Cox's target volume was the same as it's been last week. He just, for whatever reason, didn't catch any of them. So I think that Cox is a good look. And he's been a guy. So Doyle, I know this because he was on the Ravens, is an excellent blocking tight end.
Yeah. Yep. One of the better ones.
Yeah. But Cox has received a lot of this volume in games that the Colts have been ahead for whatever reason. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but that's the way it's been. So I like Mo Alley Cox over 23 and a half receiving yards. Anything else that you'd like to look at? Also, what's up, Roy? Haven't seen you in forever. Hope all is well.
Yeah, what up, man? No, I think I'm ready to give out our best bets.
All right. So, Ben, I'll let you go first.
Alrighty.
Because we're probably going to be on the same one, but I'll let you take it.
I don't think so, actually.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. But my best bet, I'm just going to pull up the number real quick. So it is, find it, a little bit of anticipation. Let's see here. Got it. My best bet tonight is Michael Carter. Michael Carter under 49 and a half rushing yards. That's my best bet.
Oh, no, Ben. I can't believe it.
Why?
Because, well, I mean, I like the over there. Gonna go against me like that with your best bet?
I thought you liked the receiving yards.
Well, yeah, I like the receiving yards. But I did also like the over. Or I leaned the over for rushing. Anyways. So my favorite bet, I like Mo Alley Cox. But I gotta stick on the Michael Carter train. I'm gonna go Michael Carter over 4.5 receptions as my top pick for this game.
Like that one as well.
Yeah, it's the Michael Carter night. That's what it looks like. So couple plugs to make now that we are done. So first off, for anybody who is not currently a Capwise subscriber, that is on the Capwise website, not on Twitch, we are currently running a little promo. I, of course, don't have a command ready for it, but there is a link to the dashboard that just got posted in the chat. I'm going to post it again a couple more times. There it is. If you want to, you can use promo code SWOOSH, SWOOSH. That's the right promo code, right, Ben?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not?
It's close. Swish.
Oh, swish. We're just making different noises. Promo code SWISH. Glad I asked.
Yeah, and it's all caps. All caps. And yeah, that gets you 50% off your first month.
Yeah, so I'm sure that there's a lot of people who could vouch for the usefulness of that. I mean, obviously, subscribing for stuff like that isn't for everybody. That's okay. But we think that it's a very worthwhile thing to do. So use promo code SWISH for 10% or for 50% off your first month of standard. Also, speaking of subscriptions, if you have an Amazon Prime account, be sure to link that with your Twitch account. Amazon owns Twitch. It's very easy and seamless to do the linkage. There's a little link for a tutorial video. Once you do that, you can click on the purple subscribe button down at the bottom of the stream. Click subscribe free, and you can subscribe to us on Twitch for free once every month. You can do that here. You can do that anywhere else. We obviously would appreciate it if it was here, but make sure you use it. You got to subscribe somewhere. It's one of the perks that you pay for with Amazon Prime. Helps out a Twitch streamer, whether it's us or somebody else. They do go a long way. And you have to renew that every month. So if you are subscribed or had been subscribed, make sure that you check to see if that's available again, because it expires every month and doesn't auto-renew. Also, I guess that's it.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but no, I think we covered most of it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Also, I guess be sure to join the Discord if you're not in there already. I still need to update that command too. I'm slacking on the commands. We're up right around 900 people in there now. Chatting about all kinds of different sports. I see you have a ton of notifications. Looking forward to go reading all those. But yeah, check that out. So I have a couple questions also. So Tom says, do you see Trayvon Diggs breaking the interceptions record this year? So what exactly is the interceptions record? Is it like 10 or 11?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I do not know that off the top of my head.
So the record for interceptions in a season is 14.
And he's at 7 right now?
Yeah, he's at 7 right now.
Ooh, it's going to be close.
Although also, is this like the official NFL record? Because this was from back in 1952. So that's before it was like, that was before the merger. I think post-merger record is 13. But either way.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. I mean, Diggs is fantastic. He is such a good ball hawk. Such a fun defensive player to watch. It's going to be hard. Teams are going to figure it out. They're just going to stop throwing at him.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, but
it's what you see a lot with the best corners in the league in their primes. Their interception numbers are really low because nobody throws at them. Like, you go back, I mean, who have been some of the like number one corner in the league guys over the last 10 or 15 years? I mean, like Darrelle Revis. Is Revis Island. You don't throw to Revis Island, so he never racks up interceptions because he gets targeted twice a game.
Yeah, and I think the first few games of the season, people were just like, wow, this guy is actually kind of good. So,
yeah. So I'd say no. As fun as it would be for it to happen, I really doubt it.
I'm rooting for it, though.
Oh, yeah. Question of the day. Oh, God. Does Kadarius Toney get suspended for his tweet about rugs?
No.
I didn't see the tweet. Do I want to look at this?
I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I think he deleted it. It was just about forgiving him, but yeah, I don't know. Not the biggest deal in the world, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm reading it. It's a bad take. It's a very bad take. I don't think it's suspension worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we young, everybody makes mistakes. Y'all look at the situation like, I'm not going to try and read this all out. Gonna sound like an idiot. Yeah, I mean, I disagree with what Kadarius Toney said. I think that Ruggs deserves to be dragged for it. In his words, I mean, I really do, but you just can't do what he did.
Exactly.
You just can't.
Yep. But we have kickoff in about. Is it? I always forget. Is it 6:15 or 6:20?
I think it's 6:15.
I'll never get it straight.
Yeah, and you know what's fun actually is you can catch tonight's game, I believe, on Twitch.
Nice.
Here is the link to that. I don't think you can watch it on your phone if you're on mobile, and you also cannot watch it on a console through the Twitch app on there.
Did you mean to send that 5 times?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I don't know why I sent it 5 times. It's not like chat's flying.
Urgent.
But, yeah. You can see it over on my other screen. We got Michael Strahan talking about something. I don't know.
He was funny on the Manning cast.
I can't watch the Manning cast for a long period of time. I tried it, and it was funny, but I felt like I was watching them and not the game. Like missing a lot of stuff that happened during the game.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on the game, but so far it's been pretty good because a lot of the games have been kind of shitty.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like when they break down coverages and stuff. So
Yeah.
So some of the guests I don't care for, and I'm just kind of like whatever. But here and there, it's all right.
Yep.
Also, Jets are wearing black helmets, black pants, and white jerseys. They're 7-0. No,
Mike White has a green helmet on.
black helmet.
Maybe I'm colorblind.
Oh, you're right. It is green. It kind of looked black because it was the gradient.
I'm green, black, colorblind. You know.
Yeah, but the Colts are wearing all blue. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what that means. Probably nothing, but
The Colts have either won, lost, or tied every game they've ever worn in those uniforms.
Yep.
The more you know.
The more you know. All right,
Yeah.
Nick.
Yeah,
That's gonna call it.
Yep, time to wrap it up. We'll be back on Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, with full rundown, no props, not the deep dive like we had today, but game level rundown of every game on Sunday. And then we'll be back on Monday as well, starting a half an hour earlier than this one started at. That'll be 4:30 Mountain, 6:30 Eastern, with picks and props for wonderful, exciting Bears and Steelers Monday Night Football game. So thank you all, as always, for being here, and good luck with the bets, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.